This is the John Hallett Podcast with John Hallett.
Because the way we're living, we need to change it, make it change today, and all learn from failure. Maybe they just wanted it a little bit more than you. That's probably the fact.
And now your host, John Hallett.
Alrighty, everybody. I've got the Frenchies snoring in the background. It is not Josh waiting to be on standby. He is out on vacation. We actually had some audio trouble on the podcast we did yesterday. So I'm back at it today, trying to carve out a little bit of time to connect with all of you. Thanks for tuning in. You can always support this podcast, our brand, suckless.co. You can get all your supplements, whey protein, whey isolate, your creatine. Hey guys, creatine help us support my daughter getting through college. This is something I've created to try to give her an opportunity to work remotely and to try to build a brand, build a business, and how hard that is. The American spirit, the American dream, right? Build it versus looking for somebody else to take care of you. I'm sick of that stuff. I am about headed. I don't know if it's because I'm just old or, not even old. 50's not old. It's the new 20. Somebody told me that the other day. So you got to get out there and get after it and speak up. There's a lot of crap going on. I can't make sense of it, but I know there's a lot of things that we just cannot no longer be silent about. We've just got to stand up and say, this crap is wrong. Everything from California telling their parents that they aren't going to tell their kids they're transitioning in school. This is total crap, guys. This is stuff we need to put a stop to. I cannot believe the parents of California have not stormed the government. That guy, Gavin Newsom, I think is a total communist. So maybe not a total communist. I don't know. But what I've seen of him, I cannot stand him. Look, guys, today we're talking about misconceptions on Krav Maga. We had a pretty good conversation with Josh yesterday, and his opinion of coming in. The night before, we had two parents that came in and both kind of said two different things on their little overview of watching a class of what they felt Krav Maga was about. One dad coming in with a third degree daughter. I'm not quite positive if she was Taekwondo or karate, martial art, looking to do something different. Saying Krav Maga was really in close. I'm like, yes, we're going to be aggressive. What you saw was, a gun threat. There's not a chance to run there. If we could, we would. We'd love distance, but when we need to go, you need to go. You need those skills. A lot of people will say, well, I have a gun. Well, what happens when a gun is on your back? Going for your draw right there is going to be a really bad scenario. We're always talking about redirecting the line of fire, controlling that weapon. And hey, remember guys, it is all about their decision to pull the trigger, not the trigger pull. Nobody's faster than that. It's their decision to pull the trigger. I will cooperate with somebody if I feel like they just want property. I will cooperate with that every day of the week. But if I feel like I'm going to die or somebody else is going to die in this scenario, then I'm going to act. Otherwise, let them go. It's not worth it. It's not, worth getting into just a fist fight, let alone getting into something with somebody with a gun. And that can be a problem with all martial artists, especially I feel Krav Maga, that the students are just going to go. I know the technique, so go. No, number one, as we say in our kids class, build a strong mind. Outsmart them. Is that the best thing? Being an intelligent warrior. My instructor, Todd Fossey, for Integrative Defense Strategy calls it fight IQ. And I've been joking with people on, hey, is your fight IQ low? Do you have a low IQ? Let's build it up here. Let's advance here, especially as you advance from our beginner intermediate stage into our peaceful warrior stage and not get caught up in basic things. Krav Maga builds. Darren Levine of Krav Maga Worldwide once told me at a lunch break in instructor training of how he just felt Krav Maga was just an endless hallway with doorways and new possibilities and new things and things coming up. And, I was very, very young in Krav Maga at that point, maybe 3 years, if that. And I had felt my understanding coming into Krav Maga was, I'm going to get this down and dirty thing, and I'm going to be pretty good after, these, 1 or 2 instructor trainings that I had signed up for. And whoa, was I wrong? So, when you come in and check out a martial art, you can be, just so off base on that one. But, everybody, sometimes you just don't like the fit, whatever it may be. It just may seem like, oh, I totally hate it. I've had people come back into our gym after different things have happened to them. Law enforcement officer leaving for BJJ and finding himself grappling on the ground and waiting for backup and feeling he was going to get run over because cars weren't stopping when he was, trying to arrest a guy on the side of the road. So he had come back, and I said, we like to integrate, and the more and more we integrate with any martial art, we don't care. I see a lot of martial arts get cultish or, religious about what they're doing, and that's what drew me into Krav Maga originally. It was whatever worked, like Bruce Lee, way of no way. That really appealed to me because, I wasn't completely happy with my Taekwondo and Hapkido training that I had started. And had dabbled in a little bit of judo, mainly being somebody's throwing, uke, when he was up on Nantucket for the summers, and he didn't have anybody to train with in judo, so I would pick up little things from him, but mainly got thrown around a whole lot. So, think of your misconceptions. Think of, what you initially thought of. I know a lot of students can really drive people away because they're excited, and in their excitement they make it sound too aggressive, and somebody's interpretation of you being excited and how good it is, they feel, whoa, this is just way too hard for me. I'm going to get beaten up. Where I always tell that individual, when you came in, you weren't sounding that way, and it's been an evolution to get there. So, the other parent last night, he felt Krav Maga was a lot of ground. I said, and she had witnessed, a block of, 3 things maybe that, the kids did a stand-up thing, and then we did a ground thing. And the other one was the gun from behind that I just referenced. So, it's, what is it that you're looking for from a martial art? Krav Maga can be misunderstood because people come into Krav Maga and it's maybe a little bit too cardio. And there are a lot of Krav Maga programs that go way too cardio and make it kind of a cardio kickboxing class, because it's easier to fill a cardio kickboxing class than a self-defense class, because so many people they bury their head in the sand that they're going to need self-defense. And they want to be in shape. So, unfortunately, and I understand where they're coming from, you got to keep the lights on. But somebody comes into a Krav Maga class and they're like, whoa, that's not what I was looking for. Now, I was telling a guy last week, look, we believe in conditioning. I didn't see the class that you were in. And, I don't know. We're at the end of the month. They might have been reviewing, going through some things a little bit fast, mixing in with, some boot camp fitness. I don't know what was going on. Maybe you're just completely out of shape and there was no fitness, and you felt whatever we did was super hard. And a lot of people come in, they just want to talk. They just want to talk about things. And you got to drill it. You got to do it. You got to put hands on. And, we can't help everybody there. Their idea of what they want. It's really tough. I've been talking to my instructors of how tough it is when you get somebody coming in just one time and you're trying to show them this, system that a lot of people think is really simple and, oh, it's practical. And it is. And it gets people up to a good high speed, teaches them basic combatives, basic escapes, some basic things on the ground. That's what most people spend their time on or devote to a martial art. They come in and, whatever happens, that they end up spending 6 months to a year. And it doesn't matter what martial art. They think they want to do it and they find out, oh, it's actually a lot of work. And it's not just talking about it, it's actually doing it and putting in the reps. So that is something you guys should be considering there. So I got stung by a bee last night. I was harassing the bees. I've been trying to get them out of the rig that's outside at our gym, and I knocked on the rig. That's where our pull-up station, back squat. If you're not familiar with that type of equipment, and a bee came out, stung me right in the forearm, and I flicked it off, and he came back at me, and I managed to land a left-right combo at him. I was excited for a second, then I was like, he's kind of dying. That's not as impressive as coming out. I should have tried to harass a couple more bees, but had to get back into my Peaceful Warrior class that I was subbing for Jordy, who was out of town working, and leads me to Apex. I believe Josh and I were talking a little bit about Apex and stepping it up into that program, and that's where you're going to find me more and more is in the Peaceful Warrior, but especially in the Apex class, where I'm really trying to get our first degrees, those reps of teaching Peaceful Warrior. It used to be a place where you could find me, but I've got so many people that are as good as me. When we started that Peaceful Warrior Advanced Black Belt, and they're not progressing if they're just continuing teaching beginner, intermediate. So I've got those guys doing Peaceful Warrior wherever we can. Always tough staffing a gym, but I do teach you some. But the Apex program, we just had one of our first degree black belts kind of check it out and came up to me after. He's like, that was effing awesome. And I was like, that was, it wasn't my best class, I guess I would say. It was good, but you got to continue to step up your training. I feel like a lot of people feel like they can just keep going. There's such an evolution, and training with higher level people and talking about higher level things and taking things to a different level, that it is part of the path. And I've seen it. I've tried to avoid it, not do the business aspect of, join this advanced team or program. But you see that in every martial art. They have all sorts of levels of competitor, all the way up to those semi-pro and pro fighters in different gyms. And to get into those, unless you're, the pro that they really want in their gym, you're paying to get up and get that, elite level of training. So, and I hate that level of elite. I always think I can get better and better. And, it's not a bad feeling that, hey, I can get a little better, be positive. But sometimes people get caught up in, their punch. I've been on a whole bunch of people on their punch technique. You just got to take it and slow it down sometimes and really just be, singly focused on maybe just one aspect of like putting those first two knuckles on the attacker. If you're working the bag, I spend a ton of time just focusing, everything I have on the first two knuckles. Like, and then where's my wrist? Where's my elbow? And taking that time where a lot of times people are like, all right, I'm just punting in. They're just doing it. They're going through the motions. And they're good, but they elite standard, no. And, then elite standard is, I don't even think I'm elite standard. You got people entirely better. You look at somebody like a real good striker, like, old time Boss Rutan, phenomenal striker. And that, you're like, whew, I'm not that world class elite. I think I'm pretty good, above average of, people I see and what my instructors tell me, but I always want to get better. And just like in fitness, I feel people go through the motions and they're not really fully focused on that muscle group, or like isolating and just slow on that, bicep curl is a good example. People do the same thing with their hammer fist, with their knee strike, with their round kick. They just kind of do it and not slow it down and feel what they're doing at a real high level. And then being able to do that fast and under stress is a whole nother thing, because we're all degrading. So check out my Apex class. You're in our beginner program. We are taking people into the Peaceful Warrior program. message me. You guys know how to do it. If you're a member of Rocky Mountain Self-Defense and Fitness, you can hit me up on Band, or you can go to the members site and my cell phone is on there. Either one works. Gladly to talk about your progress, whatever you want. I'm always kind of here for you guys. Let me know. None of us ever have enough time, but it can be super hard unless you bring it to my attention that you want to talk, or you're having a problem with an instructor, whatever it may be. Feeling, I had a woman, I think I've referenced on the podcast before, that she felt like she was terrible, and she was an A student. Of course she was a white belt, but she was an A white belt. She was kind of the easy student that everybody wants, the easy person. Really great attitude, picked things up, really paid attention, and she felt she sucked and was going to quit. Somebody didn't silence their phone. All right, guys, keeping this one kind of short, and don't have my sidekick Josh here today. So thanks a lot for tuning in. Again, check out Suck Less. Our online training portal, again, is ClearSky.Training. You can support us there, buy t-shirts. The links are on there to the different shops in there. Suckless.co has its own Suck Less performance stuff. Really happy with that new logo created for that entity. So check it out. It's really supporting the American dream. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. If you would like to be on the podcast, hey, I just referenced how you can get a hold of me. You guys want to talk about your journey, anything like that, let me know. I'm glad to have you on the podcast. Josh will be sad, but that's all right. He'll get over it. So again, thanks for tuning in, guys.